Would you like to do an intro?
Why, yes. Yes, I would. I would like to do an intro, Chelle. Let's see. How about
It's witchcraft.
Hey, it's 4:20 a.m. Hi, and welcome to episode 29 of the Stoned Witches Hour. On this podcast, two witchy best friends on opposite coasts of the country share their weedy wisdom and stories of the unusual, the outlandish, and the macabre. I'm Laylla, representing the West Coast. This evening, I'll be talking about a haunted mansion and a cursed family.
I'm Chelle, and I'm kind of really high right now. I'm loving that we're on episode 29. Can you even believe it? So yeah, hi, Chelle, 29, and I am going to do something a little bit different tonight. I kind of get on these kicks where I pick a topic and I stick with that topic for multiple episodes. We are going to go to Florida tonight.
Florida. There's a lot of scary things in Florida. DeSantis is one. Never mind. Different podcast.
Who freaking knew, by the way? I didn't know that Florida was as haunted as it was.
Don't people go to Florida for like sun and sand and Disney and they don't think about haunted things?
Apparently not, because from what I found, there's actually quite the ghosty following down there. So,
oh, I know one scary thing.
What?
Is it Robert the Doll?
No!
Robert the Doll's in Florida.
Is it really?
Yeah, scary.
So see, Florida. You folks down in Florida, you got freaking Spookville down there. We're going to talk about the St Augustine Lighthouse.
Why does that sound familiar?
Because it's super flippin' haunted, friend.
Yay!
But I also, in looking into some stuff about the St. Augustine Lighthouse, it led me down the path of the very first documented ghost sightings, if you will, in America.
Really?
So I am actually going to talk real quick about some of the first ghost sightings in America, as well as the St. Augustine Lighthouse.
Well, it sounds like we have an amazing episode coming up. Chelle is going to be talking about a haunted lighthouse and some of the first hauntings in America. I am going to take us to St. Louis, Missouri, and the cursed Lemp family mansion. So stay with us, like, subscribe, shoot us an email, write us a review, say nice things about us.
Smoke some weed.
Get really, really high, light some incense, set the mood, sit back, relax.
Because you know why?
Why?
We're fucking international superstars.
We are national superstars. We still got New Zealand peeps that are pretty regular.
You know, speaking of the New Zealand part of the world, some news out of Australia this week. Very sad.
Gosh, yes, I know.
I remember, there was a point not too long ago where we had other sad news. Our favorite Rocky Horror actor, Meatloaf, passed away.
Yeah, I remember.
We had to do a shout out. Today, I feel like we need to do a shout out, man, to Olivia Newton-John. Like, what the hell? Grease. And she was like so pretty. Even though she was like 78 years old or something, the fucking lady was beautiful. Like, I want to look like Olivia Newton-John when I'm in my 70s. Like, how do I do that?
And she seemed so nice and so gracious.
Genuine.
Yes.
You don't get a lot of that.
I had to break the news to my husband.
Oh.
She was his girlfriend.
Yep. I can see it.
And had the posters, was in love with her, and it was difficult. I had to hold his hand. He was very, very sad. Very sad.
And the thing is that it's not just Grease. And I think people forget that.
Yeah.
Grease wasn't like her only thing.
Well, she had that music career. Wasn't she on Broadway?
I'm not sure about the Broadway.
I don't know about the Broadway thing. Maybe Grease was on Broadway, but not her necessarily.
Grease was on, yeah, definitely that was. I don't know if she was in it on Broadway, but like she put out like an album back in the day, like Physical. Remember Physical? She was in like the headband.
I remember that.
Please.
Exercising in the
Yeah. Like that was our childhood. Like that shit was on MTV. Like we rocked that. And I'm sad.
She was a cannabis user.
No shit.
No shit. She used it to help with cancer.
Oh, no shit. I did
Mm-hmm.
not know that.
Yep, she was a very outspoken advocate for cannabis and for how much it helped her in her cancer with her cancer symptoms. She had breast cancer, right? She
Right.
had
Yeah.
breast cancer back in the
Yeah.
day. And you know, she used cannabis oil. She was very vocal for how much
I didn't
marijuana helped
realize
her.
I didn't realize that. And that kind of gives you perspective because I am not the only person on the planet that thought that that woman was the greatest thing since frickin' sliced pie, truly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Grease was not only the first movie I saw, but I saw it in the drive-in when I was like 7, like drive-in first movie, like come on now.
Right. So
And to
fun. What a good memory.
have someone that beautiful and gracious and humble and not just beautiful physically, but like inside beautiful, like such a awesome person
Mm-hmm.
was also a cannabis user.
And an outspoken advocate because it really did help her. She found when she was undergoing chemo, I think she was on morphine for the
Mhm.
pain,
Oh,
and
Jesus.
she used marijuana to wean herself off of other pain medications and used just cannabis and cannabis oil. She was very, very big on it. She was huge.
Now, do you happen to know, not trying to put you on the spot, but as me and all of our listeners are aware, you are the weed woman, the wise weed lady.
Oh, yes, that's my Instagram handle, Wise Woman Weed. And as we all know, your Instagram handle is 100% truth of who you are. So I'm very wise. Ask me anything.
So, what are the laws for marijuana in Australia? Is it legal? Is it not legal? Is it medical? Is it recreational? I know you say that she was an advocate. I know she lived in Southern California in the end, but Australia was like her place. What are the laws in Australia? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea, but I bet Google knows. Google says it's largely illegal in Australia, but the rules differ from state to state. That's kind of sad. I guess they do have a legal medical marijuana program,
Gotcha.
but
Okay.
recreational is illegal on the federal level, but laws vary from one state there to another. It's good that medical is legal there. So if she went home, she could still continue to take medical marijuana.
Right. Now, was her advocacy, do you know, in California or Australia or both? Or don't you know?
Everywhere. She was just she would talk about it. Anybody that asked,
Okay.
she would talk about it. I know she was on some shows talking about it, but she was just very outspoken about how much it had helped her in her journey.
But there are folks out there that marijuana is a very taboo thing, even still
Hmm.
to this day. And that's why I think knowing that people like Olivia Newton-John, who were outspoken cannabis users, is kind of like a point for our side.
Yeah, I think
You know what I
the
mean?
more and she's an older woman. She was an older generation, and to see someone who's famous and intelligent and well spoken, you know, well put together. She had her shit together. She is an older lady
A
who
quote unquote normal person.
exactly. And to see that type of person be a competent, intelligent advocate for cannabis, especially for something medical like this, is huge. More people
Right.
need that type of relief and they'll trust it more coming
Right.
from a normal person,
Right.
especially because we need that kind of advocacy. You and I grew up with Cheech and Chong, and I
Right.
love them very much. And outside of the funny marijuana movies that they did, they even back in the day were advocates for
Huge
weed.
advocates. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that some people take them a little less seriously. That's the way our society is, and I hate that. But we need people of all types to come forward and say, cannabis helps me relax. It helps me medically. It helps me, you know, have a good time. I like to unwind after work with a little bit of marijuana. The more people of all walks of life, of all colors, of all religions, of everything, we just need, it needs to be more accepted everywhere.
Funny story. So I go into the weed store, my favorite Happy Valley, Gloucester, Mass. Love
Love
them.
them.
That's kind of what you see there. You will see the 24-year-old kid who looks like he's been high for 6 days straight and doesn't need any more right now. And then you'll see the guy that's dressed in a three-piece suit in line behind him, followed by what looks to be like my grandma or my great grandma in line behind them.
Right.
So when you are at the weed store and they were having a sale, so it was rather crowded.
I love me a sale.
Well, oh my God, like for real. We'll have to get into that. But so it was relatively crowded, like needed to wait for a parking spot kind of crowded. And to see the variety of people from all walks of life is pleasantly surprising. I love it because it's not just back in our day, what you'd call that typical stoner, hippie stoner. You know, it looked like there was a lawyer and your atypical American grandma in line.
Right,
know?
Exactly. And I think that was one of the things. Now, weed is legal in New York for medical and recreational at this time. But when I left New York, it was not legal in any way, shape, or form. And I went to California and I got my medical card and I could walk into a shop. And that's exactly what I saw, is I saw every type of person. And I love that because it's so helpful. It helps grandma's glaucoma. It helps everybody.
Here's my final question for the wise weed woman. I hear rumors. Back when I was in New York, they had started legalizing medical, and I had obtained a medical card due to my chronic issues. I'd only ended up getting weed at the medical store once in New York because I was like, you're charging that? My friend can get me triple that for that. So I actually only went to the store once in New York with a medical card. When I moved to Massachusetts, it was recreational, so I didn't even bother getting a medical card because I was like, well, why bother going through that and paying my copay at the doctor just to get something I can already get? But my question is the medical quote unquote stronger than the recreational? Because that's the word on the street. That's a rumor. I don't know if it's a myth, a fact. Is there a benefit to getting the medical? Is it better? Is it stronger? Like, tell me the deal here.
Come here, Chelle. Lean in real close. I'm going to tell you a secret. It's the same weed.
That's what I thought. That's why I didn't want to pay the copay. Because I haven't had an MRI in like 4 years, and they'd make me get an MRI plus the copay, and it would cost me like $1,000 at the doctor and the price of the medical card on top of that. I just want to smoke, people.
Yeah, we just want to smoke. Same thing. I do want, you can grow more plants if you have your medical license. There are advantages to having a medical card, so I tend to have one. I know people in New York that have them right now because I believe the only way you can grow legally in New York is medical. There is no recreational home grows at this time.
Right.
So there are some people that have it, but it's a plant, people. If somebody wants to take it for a headache or back pain or because they have fibroids or because they have ADHD and it helps them, just let them take it. Really, they're not going to hurt themselves. They're not going to hurt anyone else. It can only help. And it does. It's proven that it does. Just let them take it. Don't make us jump through hoops.
Because what I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, some of this high THC content good weed that I get actually does make my back feel better. And I'm like, are you trying to tell me that if I get a medical card that I'm going to my back issues are going away? Like, what are you saying? So that's why I wanted to know, is the medical, what they call medical grade, is it really any different?
No, the answer is no. But depending on your state, you may need a card for various reasons. You might need your medical card in order to grow. You might need a medical card. You might only be able to buy medically. You might only be able to grow medically. You might need a medical card if you have to take a piss test for a job, like a drug test. You might need your medical card. Although I do believe there are things I don't know if it's at the state level or the federal level, where they don't test. I believe it's state by state. So check with your state. But some people need a medical card for that reason. The other thing is I do believe that most states, medical weed has less taxes. So
more bang for your buck.
Right. So you might actually eventually save money, but depending on your copay, and if like you have a very, very high copay, it might never be worth it to you.
So, when that's your healthcare situation.
And that's a whole nother fucking subject. Why is healthcare so fucked up here? Why is it so expensive for you to get an MRI that you really should have? I don't understand that. And we put things off because I'm putting things off because I can't afford it. There's no freaking way I could afford the different things that I need. So it's fucked up. So fucked up.
If we have any friends in either Canada or England who are looking for some American weirdos to come live with them so we can milk your government's free healthcare, let us know. We're interested.
We're interested because things here are going to hell in a handbasket.
Right?
Ay, ay, ay.
But so you're bonging it away.
Oh, I am so bonging it away. I am bonging left and right over here.
Let's talk about what we're smoking since we're on the jive.
I'm smoking some XJ13, homegrown, cheap bitch over here. So I'm reaching back into the cupboard, this time to a marked jar of some old XJ13 that I grew. Good stuff. It's a Jack Herer descendant. So it has that yummy Jack Herer taste, a little bit citrusy, little earthy. I like it. Nothing spectacular. I would say nothing to write home about. Looks nice. Looks like weed. Looks kind of pretty, a little crystally. Nothing special. Want to see my XJ?
Just looks weedy.
It looks weedy, and it tastes good. It has, like I said, a little citrusy, earthy. I like it. And it's middle of the road. I would say middle of the road for THC. Again, my own, and I haven't tested it. If any of you want to send me a test kit, email us at thestonedwitcheshour@gmail.com. But the leafly.com says that it contains about 25% THC. So, and it feels about there. It's a decent high. I can feel that I'm high. I usually feel high in my eyes first. I can definitely feel high. Makes me happy. Makes me feel motivated. This one's good when I'm having ADHD days where I'm bouncing from one thing to another. This one can kind of help me stay on task. So I like it. It's good.
I feel guilty.
Oh, why so?
Well,
did you get something awesome yet again?
I am super fucking high.
I'm jealous. All right. What amazing dank shit are you smoking today, Chelle?
This is where it gets hysterical. I don't even remember. I don't know.
You don't even know. You're so high, you forgot where you were smoking.
I don't even know.
I love that.
Well,
favorite Happy Valley place?
Favorite Happy Valley place, and you know how I roll. Usually I go every week or two and kind of just get a stockpile. Who needs to be like going every day? So I usually get a couple eighths of this, couple eighths of that, and I mix it up, and that's what I have for the next couple of weeks. I got something new that I'd never seen before. And usually when I get it home, we've talked about in the past, the obnoxious packaging.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when I get it,
the packaging,
right?
Hate it.
When I get it home, I kind of transfer it to my own means of packaging.
We do anyways. Why can't we just bring that to the store, people?
Right. And so I kind of throw their packaging away and have it in my own little container. Well, the package is gone. I'm super high. Don't know what the fuck I bought. And I love it. That's
awesome.
I love it. I know nothing about it because I don't remember what it was. High's great. Super great high. And I feel kind of guilty, but because I'm so high, it kind of makes me laugh. That's where I'm at tonight.
Perfect.
How about you?
I love that. I'm middle of the road high. I'm nicely baked. I feel good. I feel happy. And considering that today was definitely, I need a little relaxation, a little help. And so this is nice. This is just kind of an easy breezy, I feel good high.
Gotcha.
I like it.
And I'm just lit. I am lit.
You are baked, sister. I love it.
So here's some interesting ghosty histories we're going to talk about real quick.
I am super excited. You said that you had some little first ghosty factoids. And so I'm going to smoke some of my XJ13 and lay them on me there, Chelle.
All right. So, ultimately, ghost stories go back to like literally 100 AD or BC. Can't remember. BC, AD, one of those, long time ago. I remember when I was reading about the first documented ghost stories ever in the world, it was like during the Roman Empire. So I think that was the first century AD, if I'm not mistaken, one of the two. So anywho, so I'm looking into the St. Augustine Lighthouse, and it led me down to a path of America's first documented ghost. It talked about like the history of ghosts. What is a ghost?
I'm super curious. Like there's a first documented ghost sighting in America?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I just fell upon this information too. I wasn't even looking for it and fell
Now,
upon
are you talking about the first colonizer ghost story? Because, or are you talking like a Native American first peoples here? Okay.
colonizer. Yeah, definitely not Native American. That
Okay. Yeah, they've got their own much deeper
yeah.
history that's different. Okay.
Yeah, no, this is the first colonized. And believe it or not, it actually didn't happen until 1799. You would think there'd be ghosts before that were documented.
You would think, maybe we just couldn't see the ghosts that were here.
No, I think what it was is before 1799, they just thought you were batshit crazy and burned your ass at the stake.
That's probably true too.
Just saying.
Nobody was going to mention any ghost stories. Certainly no teenage girls.
This came out of Maine. And all of our listeners know that I should not be pronouncing towns anywhere in the world. Okay. Okay. So we're going to give this a go. Mashiaport, Maine.
Okay.
If you're from Maine and I said that wrong, I am so sorry. So sorry. So very first documented ghost story comes out of this town, Mashiaport, Maine. This occurred on August 9th. Happy anniversary. Actually, today's the 10th, so it actually is.
That's so funny. That's so weird. Why does that happen? Like, this is not the first time that we have researched something and the date
happened basically on the anniversary.
Right? What is with that? That's such a weird coincidence to have happened more than like 3-4 times. It's just weird to me.
So on August 9th in 1799, Abner Blaisdell started hearing strange noises in his house. Kind of shook it off and kind of ignored it. Then he saw a disembodied female, heard a female voice, and it had a very clear message that he was able to understand. The ghost exclaimed that she was the wife of Captain George Butler, and those that have heard her were supposed to send for her father, David Hooper. And these people, they'd get kind of scared and they would go get her father.
Yeah.
Like literally go get him and bring him to the house. So upon Mr. Hooper's arrival, he would hear the voice. He confirmed that it was his daughter and her name was Nellie. And Nellie began appearing in all these various forms, and especially as a recognizable apparition, just how she looked when she passed away. And she was often floating above the ground, appearing very white as like a glowing light type thing. She would make appearances to converse with the Blaisdell family, and they would actually gather in their basement to speak to her. Like, did they have a Ouija board? Was this a Ouija story?
Interesting to me, this has a lot of elements of the Lady in White stories. The daughter, that she can't let go. She's asking for her father or her family.
Oh, it gets
parent
weird.
Comes. It sounds a lot like the Lady in White legends.
So she would eventually be seen by so many spectators that she became like a ghost celebrity. Everybody in the region talked about her. People would try to debunk her. And basically this ghost would disprove them. And
holy shit. That's wild.
She'd be like, oh, okay, you don't think I'm real? Here I am. And it didn't even matter if her family was there or not. She would appear and basically scare the shit out of people to prove she was real. Like this ghost was
That's amazing. This ghost would like prove her own existence.
Yeah. They initially thought that the family was like doing something, like creating like illusions and had like voice things in the background, basically like creating a ghost that wasn't really there.
Like all those charlatans that used to do like the table knocking and the curtains that would blow in the breeze.
They had a guy from Harvard come, and the guy from Harvard, he described the girl looking at him like a white cloud. He saw her rise from the ground and away from him, and then instantly appearing near him, would come close and then go far away. And in like a split second, he called it a spirit cloud. It could transform into a child-sized figure and back into a full-size adult-sized figure. Rays of light would emanate from her head. And
wow.
yeah. And he was also a reverend, the guy from Harvard, freaked out. One more twist was Nellie died after giving birth to a child. And Captain Butler was her husband, and she suggested that he marry Abner Blaisdell's daughter, Lydia. After she was a ghost, her apparition went to her husband and was like, hey, you should marry this chick. Just saying.
Wow, picked her husband's next wife?
Like a phantasmal matchmaker. So actually, he ended up marrying the woman, and she told her former husband to be kind to his new wife because she knew that the woman was going to die. And
what? Holy shit.
She did indeed end up dying after giving birth to their first child.
Now, did the other child live?
Yeah.
So now he's father to 2 motherless children.
Correct. So then motherfucker gets married to somebody else, and she basically haunts him, gives him a ghosty tongue lashing, and wreaks havoc, and then disappears forever because he married someone else and she didn't tell him to. Kind of like she gave him the blessing to marry Lydia, but didn't bless him marrying a third person, and she was pissed.
Wow. So she only let him marry the one Lydia because she was going to die soon anyway. She got all sorts of mad when he married someone without her permission.
Apparently. Wow. I mean, it's not like any huge, like, mystical thing, but that is the first documented ghost story in America.
So a guy had to go and ruin the best ghost ever to exist, apparently.
Apparently.
So rude.
Yeah, like typical man stuff. Just saying. And I also found out, do you know what the most famous ghost in America is that is seen the most often?
The Headless Horseman?
I'll give you one more guess.
Is it a politician?
It is.
Is it a president?
It is.
Thomas Jefferson?
Close. Abraham Lincoln.
Oh shit, that's who I wanted to say. Abraham Lincoln, the vampire hunter guy.
Yeah, right. Apparently, Abraham Lincoln is the most famous ghost, most seen often, even to this day. People say that they see Lincoln all the time at the Lincoln Memorial at nighttime. Lincoln is in multiple locations, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, Lincoln is the most seen,
most prolific ghost.
Yeah.
Lincoln. Wow.
Yeah. So those are my little side tidbit stories for today.
I like your side tidbits. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, actually, I thought it was interesting to see, what is the first documented in United States history. Because as you can tell, they weren't really documenting that before we became a nation. So what were we, 1776? So by 1799, we were documenting that stuff. What we'll have to do sometime, future episode note, we'll have to document first alien sightings.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we did document the first alien sightings. I talked a little bit about it, I think. I'm not sure, but we can talk about it more for sure.
So what led me to those tidbits was I was actually looking into this St. Augustine Lighthouse.
Oh, yeah, you were saying. I think I've heard of that before. Is it really famous?
It is, actually. And there's a couple things about it that I didn't really realize. St. Augustine is the oldest city in the United States. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I did not know that either. It was founded by Don Pedro de Aviles of Spain in 1585. So actually, St. Augustine was founded, 75 years before Plymouth, Massachusetts. So yeah, actually, according to what I found, oldest city in the United States. So as you can imagine, freaking ghosty. So there are multiple tales about the lighthouse, but the most popular and the most prolific is the story of the Pitti girls. And again, we all know I'm horrible with pronunciations. Their last name is spelled Pittee. Pitti. I don't know. Pitti girls.
That sounds right. What happened to the Pitti girls?
Like I said, Don Pedro founded St. Augustine, 1585. In the 1600s, a lighthouse was built, and it was built out of wood, obviously, for the time. But as you can imagine, there was erosion to the land from the ocean, as well as destructive storms, hurricanes, what have you over the years. So around 1860, they decided they were going to put up what we now know the traditional cement style lighthouses.
So they started with a one and then they're going to replace it with like a better one.
Right. They had gotten stuff going to get this going, and they decided they were going to bring in a lighthouse professional, I guess. I guess if there is such a thing. So
I imagine there was a lot of need at the time, didn't they? Probably did a lot of sailing. So probably lighthouse professionals were a thing.
Oh, absolutely, especially off the coast of well, anywhere really. It doesn't even matter what coast.
Right.
The construction began in 1871, and they decided to bring a superintendent of lighthouse construction in from Maine, this guy named Hezekiah Pitty. I hope that's how it's pronounced. So he moved from Maine to Florida with his family to oversee the construction of the new lighthouse. And part of the deal is he had to live on site. He had a wife and 3 children. The 2 older girls were teenagers. Then he had like I want to say a 5-year-old.
Is this one of those lighthouses that is out on like a very tiny island, or is it on the tip of the mainland?
I believe it's on an island, yes.
Okay. So very isolated, very remote. Tough place to live for a small child, I imagine.
Well, they had like little rail lines, and they had railway carts that would move the supplies from the ship's dock up to where they're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And what these kids would do is they would ride in those carts for fun. Normally, there was a wooden board at the end that stopped the rail cart from tipping over in the water.
What do you mean normally, Chelle? What do you mean normally? Why did you say normally?
Because there comes a point where it might not have been there.
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Anyway, as you can imagine, they had a lot of workers working, and some of these workers had their children present as well. On July 10th, 1873, the 3 Pitty sisters, one was 15, 13, and then the other was 4, along with an unknown African-American girl who was 10, who they suspect her father would have worked on site. All 4 girls were playing together, riding in the carts. The wooden board was not in place.
Oh, no.
And the cart flipped into the water and trapped the girls underneath.
Oh, shit.
There was
those poor kids.
There was a man named Dan Sessions, and he was a young African-American worker. He saw what happened and raced to the water. As you can imagine, these big, huge carts, they were not light. So it took all that he had, and he had to struggle. Finally was able to lift the cart from off the girls. But by this time, 3 of the 4 girls had drowned.
Oh my goodness, those poor kids.
The only survivor was the youngest daughter. So the 2 older daughters and the 10-year-old African-American girl, whose name they never had,
figures,
were lost in this tragedy. So they shut down the town for a funeral, and then the family immediately went back to Maine to bury their daughters in their hometown. No one has been able to find the resting place of the young African-American girl. And unfortunately, based on the time period, we can only imagine that she's probably there still.
Right.
So in the 145 years since, as you can imagine, the girls are there. You can hear them playing, you can hear them laughing, you can hear them giggling. And there's definitely a sense that they're always there day or night. They've had apparitions even during the daytime.
Oh, wow. Well, to have 3 small children die suddenly like that, they have so much life energy, and to die. And
at the time, that was technically their home. Mm-hmm. So they're just there playing and roaming around and might not know they're gone.
At least most times it sounds like people hear them playing and laughing rather than, drowning.
Yeah. In the 1950s, people thought they heard footsteps. And there was a head keeper at the time named James Pippin. He was the last person to live at the lighthouse. And he had to leave because he said it was so haunted he would not stay another night in there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Grown-ass man.
Grown-ass man. The lighthouse keeper was like, oh, hell no. And essentially, no one has stayed there since. There is a woman who also occupies the lighthouse still. She's probably more famous in the hauntings of the St. Augustine Lighthouse than the little girls.
Does she have a backstory?
She does. She was there as kind of a socialite overseeing some stuff, and her man ditched her.
Oh, no, on the island?
So she went up to the top, and when she realized his boat was off in the distance, jumpy. So nowadays, and you can actually find pictures of apparitions on the internet of this one.
Really?
So you know how like at the top of the lighthouse, there's like a catwalk around the
Yeah.
You can see her walking outside of the catwalk, but at catwalk level.
In the air? Like she's jumped, but she's walking around the... Oh, how creepy.
Yeah, like actually, like I said, if you Google the St. Augustine Lighthouse hauntings, like you'll find shit. Like it's
I'm gonna do that right now.
I was like whoa.
All right. I'll check, Chelle. I'm checking. I'm gonna check. St. Augustine Lighthouse haunting.
If you click on images,
Ghost profile.
you should see an image and it's got her
There's a
circle.
ghost right outside the lighthouse.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah. So she's
What
still
the
there.
heck?
And basically the story is that she's basically waiting for him to come back.
Oh, that's so sad. He left her there and she's still going to... She looks so creepy. I'm telling you. I'm looking at this picture and there is clearly a woman in a white dress with long dark hair standing outside of the catwalk on the ledge. That is very, very creepy.
There's also been workers that have said that every single night she jumps off.
Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad. I don't like that story. I don't like any of these stories. Can you imagine just having your children die while they're playing? It's just horrific. Just so terrible.
Like, I don't know if it, I don't think it was anybody's fault, but like that board just wasn't there that one time because those girls had played there over and over and over again and it had never been a problem.
And nobody ever came forward and was like, oh yeah, old Joe down here, he forgot to put the board back up. Nobody ever copped to it.
This was basically like the architect's kids. No one did that. You got to remember, probably a lot of these folks were slave labor, making a nickel a day, and probably would have been killed if they fessed up to the mistake. Even if it was a genuine mistake, they would have been killed.
Right. Good point.
Back in those days, oh hell yeah. Oh hell yeah.
It was probably just a terrible, terrible accident, but so sad.
Right. So actually they do tours there now. Ghost tours. You can go on a ghost tour there. It is in Florida.
Added to our island tour special.
I actually found out, here's a fun fact about Florida. Florida was in this area first place to ever do ghost tours.
Really?
Isn't that weird?
Florida in the first today.
The first.
Good for them. That's a tragic lighthouse. That's super sad.
It is. And the thing is that it is a location where people have actually been able to catch the apparitions on film and on video, pictures and videos of that. Like you saw multiple images online of that. Like that woman is there. Like that woman is there.
That's a scary looking picture. That's creepy.
So this is one of those, even a skeptic has a hard time debunking this one because it's just so it's seen so often. It's not a shy ghost.
Not at all shy. There are pictures of her right there.
Yeah. Crazy shit.
And they're haunting. They're absolutely haunting.
Nowhere that I've found anyway has anyone seen apparitions of the children, just hearing them.
The auditory.
Right.
In the mansion that I'm going to talk about, the hauntings are very much auditory. A lot of times they're auditory here as well. There seem to be a lot of different types of ghosts. There's some that you just see, some that you just hear, some that you see and hear. Sometimes you just feel like a poke or a pinch.
Well, and I think that kind of there's a lot of factors with that because what is a ghost? A ghost can be a cloud shape, it can be a human shape, it can be shit. I recall a time in my life where I've seen a cat ghost, like it doesn't have to necessarily have a form. And I think that's what throws people. You think you're going to see people just assume you're going to see a see-through body. Not always the case. So where are you taking us this week? I forgot because I'm high and I know you told everybody, but I forgot. So where are you taking us?
You're smoking the good shit today and you're faded. I can tell. I love it. But today I'm taking us to St. Louis, Missouri.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to talk a lot about beer of all things.
We both don't like beer and we both talked about the Deep South today.
I know, so weird. But beer's okay. I don't hate beer. I don't love it, but beer's nice on a hot day. You can't say that. Have you ever I don't know, worked outside, worked up a good sweat and had a beer? It's kind of good.
That's what whiskey's for.
Oh gosh, whiskey. Let's not go there. Whiskey's really good. Okay, but yeah, no, I'm talking about beer. Today we're talking about beer. And this is a family, the Lemp family, back in the beginning of America. So we're going back in the day in my story as well. It's the early 1800s. A gentleman named Johann Adam Lemp came to America from Germany. Ooh. And he settled in St. Louis. And this gentleman opened up a grocery store. And at this grocery store, as a lot of people did at the time, he made some of his own foods, like his own pickles and his own beer.
So was he basically trying to bring his culture, like what a lot of immigrants did at that time, brought their culture to America, like their food culture?
Absolutely. And he had an old family beer recipe. And so he brewed his own beer at this store. And by 1840, just a couple years after opening his store, his beer was so popular with everyone that he closed down the grocery business and focused solely on brewing beer. And it's said by a couple people that there's some other person who's credited with bringing hops to America first.
Why? Where's hops from?
I'm really not sure.
I feel like I have an ex-husband who would know the answer to that.
Probably. They could probably let us know.
I know you're in the middle of starting to tell your story, but have you ever been so high that you think you smell bagels, even though you know damn well you don't have bagels in your house? Because that's
bagels would be so good right now.
This weed, I wish I remembered what it was and I threw away the packaging, but damn.
You're so high, you're imagining munchies.
Seriously.
Phantom ghostly munchies in your house.
Seriously.
Oh, you know what I'm imagining right now? I was at the store the other day, Chelle. I totally thought of you. I saw chocolate-covered pretzel crisps.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
They had milk chocolate and dark chocolate versions.
Is this a store that I can find in Massachusetts?
No.
Oh, my God. I'm going to die.
I don't think so. Do you guys have Stater Brothers over there?
Never heard of it in my life. Never heard of it.
No, sorry.
We're Trader Joe's kind of land up here in the Northeast.
We have Trader Joe's too, but that's for rich people.
It is.
All my discretionary income goes to weed. I don't have enough for healthy food. I have to make do with what I can get.
Pretzel crisps. We love them. They're cheap. They sell.
And that's why I did not get the dark chocolate pretzel crisps, even though I desperately wanted them. They weren't in the budget. Next week.
Listeners, please, if you find chocolate-covered pretzel crisps, send Layla and I an email, thestonedwitcheshour@gmail.com. We'll give you our mailing address. Please ship them to us. We'll love you forever. Because if Chelle doesn't try these chocolate-covered pretzel crisps, I'm going to die.
I know. We're so hungry and we're so broke. Help a witch out. Weed break.
Weed break is the best break.
So Johann may or may not have brought hops over before this other person did. Some beer person can correct me on this. However, his lager was famous and everybody loved it. And I learned something new. I've heard of lager. You've heard of lager, right? Beer, lager.
I have.
Lager is derived from a German word. It comes from the word lagern, which I guess means to store. I don't know. Apparently you have to rest this type of beer. And Johann had hit the jackpot because on the shores of this mighty river here,
mighty river.
The mighty river. No, so he has found in this area, he's found some limestone caverns, underground caverns.
Ooh, I love caverns.
And these caverns maintain a temperature. And so he's able to store his beer there to kind of rest and ferment a little bit. And they keep it nice and cold. It's perfect. And there's no refrigeration at this time. So being able to use these caves was a huge boost to his beer. And everybody loved his beer.
Funny stone thought is I happen to know, because we have caves in New York and I love caves and I go there a lot. I don't know about other places, but the caves in New York, year round, winter, spring, summer, fall, 52 degrees all year round.
And I imagine it was probably I don't know if it was the same there, but I imagine it probably was. So he bought a property right near a natural cave, and he used that. I believe he was the first brewer in St. Louis to manufacture a lager type beer that's a lighter, effervescent beer. And you need these cold storage places to be able to do it. So he soon becomes very, very rich making beer.
Yeah, but that makes him a target, as we all know.
It really does. And there's rumors that these limestone caverns, upon which he built his ginormous brewing company, as well as his home, they had tunnels that would connect. He could go from his house to his brewing company and back and forth. And some of these tunnels were so deep that the fish didn't have eyes, super deep caves. Now, the rumor is that these caverns had a history that obviously goes far, far further back than the settlers.
More of a native type history.
Correct. And that the caverns themselves were not amenable to the people that had kind of taken over and that had.
So wait. Did he build these caverns or were they naturally built? Or
these are natural limestone caverns in the area. And they
had
been.
Oh, okay. So they weren't like blasted out.
No.
Oh,
okay.
Nope. Okay.
These are naturally formed limestone caverns. And as we've talked before, sometimes limestone, and particularly near water, there's a lot of activity in places like that.
It's an attractant to that energy, that paranormally energy. I can't remember what it's called because I'm high, but it's an attractant.
And there are rumors that this particular area did not like being used, that the area itself was kind of malevolent or had bad feelings, and particularly towards the Lemp family for some reason. Johann Adam Lemp, or Adam Lemp as he was known, became like a huge magnate in beer brewing. Even with the Anheuser-Busch family, that big company, Anheuser-Busch.
Anheuser-Busch, the beer folks.
They were also big at the time, and there was at one time the Lemp family beer was ranked like in the top 20, and things like Budweiser weren't even in the top 25.
Oh, no shit. So this was like an OG beer.
OG, exactly. But they no longer exist, and partly due to possibly this curse that the family may have been under.
Ooh, I love curses. Do tell.
So in 1861, Adam had a son, William, married a woman named Julia, and they built a mansion called the Lemp Mansion.
That's what a lot of people did back then, especially in the South. If you had money, you were building a big ass house.
And that's pretty much what they did. And this mansion was built, again, right near these limestone caves. So you could go from the big brewing company that Johann Adam had built, and now William has built a house, and they're connected by these caverns. So William becomes the first brewer in St. Louis to install refrigeration in 1878. So now he doesn't have to use the lagering caves. He could use them for other things. So now his business has refrigeration inside the business, and he uses these limestone caves for, he converted it to like a theater, a bowling alley. There's a swimming pool down there. They had like a hot tub with water piped in from the brewery. And it's said that he had lavish parties in these caves.
I would totally smoke in those caves. Don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I'd be getting bombed in those caves.
Right? He's the first son, new money, everything's extravagant, prostitutes, partying, drugs, you name it. He's said to have done it in the caves. They were the huge site
Like
of
the
debauchery.
The Hugh Hefner of the South.
Exactly. So as the brewery is growing, he incorporates it under the name the Western Brewery in 1892 and continues to grow the fortune. See, he's father to 9 children.
Damn.
One of them died as a baby, and the rest are Anna, the oldest, William Jr., Louis, Charles, Frederick, Hilda, Edwin, and Elsa.
They all sound like princes and princesses.
Oh, yes. This family was basically beer brewing royalty. And they lived like it. They lived lavishly. The whole brewing company spanned blocks and blocks of the city. It was huge. And he was training up his sons to follow in his footsteps. Now, the oldest son, William Jr., and the next oldest, Louis, were big-time workers in the family business. They were great doing everything. However, the youngest son, Frederick, was the one that dear old dad loved the most and had decided was going to be the heir apparent to the entire family fortune and the whole Lemp Brewing Company. Frederick, however, was very frail. He, was working in the business and was kind of sickly and decided to go to California for a little while to get better. While in California, he seems to be recovering and then dies suddenly, mysteriously, and unexpectedly.
Ooh, yeah.
Alternately, I could find that he died either of heart failure due to having a poor heart. He was only 28 when he died.
Oh, that's super young.
Yeah, he may have had a bad heart, but, not a lot of 28-year-olds have a bad heart. Others said that he died under mysterious circumstances. So, could they have been getting rid of the heir apparent? I don't know. So after Frederick died, things continued to go pretty well for the company. William Jr. called Billy, and Louis, again, helping out in the family and doing a great job. Billy gets appointed to be vice president. William Sr. is still in charge, but after the death of his favorite son, he's getting more and more despondent. One of his best friends, also in the beer industry, he dies after a long illness. And he just is seen often in his office, staring at nothing and kind of just like making nervous gestures and talking to no one.
Kind of going a little cuckoo.
A little bit. So William Sr. is getting more and more despondent. His son, William Jr., called Billy. He's wildly extravagant. He's a playboy. He races horses. He's constantly buying new things. And he marries a socialite, a woman named Lillian, who is also known for her flamboyant ways. She loves the color lavender, and so she dresses from head to toe in lavender and even has the horses that pull her carriage. All their leather was dyed lavender, and sometimes it's rumored that even the horses were dyed lavender. And so she was called the Lavender Lady.
So are you saying they're kind of basically more or less just like spoiled brats?
Pretty much, big time spoiled brats. So when the favorite son dies, William Sr. is just having more and more trouble. And just 3 years later, on February 13th, 1904, so 3 years after his favorite son died in 1901, he was found in his bedroom, lying in bed. He'd shot himself in the head.
Self-inflicted?
Yes. A year later, his widow was diagnosed with cancer, and she died 2 years later in the exact same bedroom, in the exact same bed where her husband, 2 years after he had taken his own life.
First of all, whose idea was it to keep the bed?
Right? So weird. After his father died, William Jr., Billy, took control of the brewery. But this dude, like I said, way better at partying than he was at taking care of the business. There was a reason why Frederick was the favorite. So he's continuing his partying ways, and it's even rumored that he fathered a child with a prostitute down in the limestone caves.
Which back then, huge no-no.
Huge no-no. Huge no-no.
There was a nookie going on in the caves then.
Right? And the Lavender Lady is not pleased. This is bad for her reputation. They have a son, William III, and she is livid that he has gotten a prostitute pregnant. And even worse, when the child's born, it has rumored to have Down syndrome.
Oh.
They took this baby boy and locked him in the attic and kept him there. They never let him out. People would see him in the windows, and he got a few unsavory nicknames that I'm not going to repeat because it's not that poor kid's fault. But people at first thought maybe there was a monster in the attic because they would see this deformed face in the window, and it was just this poor little boy.
Similar to like the Hunchback of Notre Dame story, really.
Very similar type story. So the Lavender Lady's pissed. There's this illegitimate child. She decides to divorce him, right? And it's a huge spectacle.
Well, back then, divorce was like so bad.
Right.
You only really got out of marriage by death.
Exactly. Oh, so, I forgot to say, remember I said that William Lemp Sr. was, after his son died, he was also sad because one of his best friends had died.
Yeah.
It was Frederick Pabst.
Oh my God, Pabst Blue Ribbon Beer, PBS.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that guy.
It's kind of funny. It's like this guy is BFFs with the PBR guy.
Yeah.
What was this like? You only could be friends with like
other beer brewing people?
Other beer families?
I'm not sure. So back to the Lavender girl, Lillian. Billy Jr., right? Playboy Billy, having children with prostitutes, Billy, holding huge parties in the caves, Billy. He's tired of her. She's pissed off at his partying ways, and he just thinks she's boring. So apparently, rumor has it that he gave her he made her like a Brewster's Millions type proposition. Do you remember that old movie where he had to spend all that money to inherit like millions and millions more? Anyway, it was kind of like that. But he said that she had to spend $1,000 a day, and that if she didn't spend it all, she wouldn't get any more money from him. To basically keep her out of his hair, he would give her $1,000 and tell her she had to spend all of it, or he wouldn't give her any more money. So he gives her this ultimatum, and the marriage is doomed, and they decide they're getting a divorce, and it's this huge, huge spectacle. I mean, think the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial kind of spectacle.
And back in those days, these people were considered like the elite rich folk.
Very much high society. People wanted to hear, and everyone wanted to hear everything, all the salacious tales, everything about how they were atheists apparently was a thing, that they were cruel to each other. They were constantly drunk.
There was a lot of gossipy females back then because they weren't allowed to work and they didn't have a say. So all they could do is gossip.
During this proceedings, she almost lost custody of her son, their only child, William Lemp III. And do you want to know why?
I was going to say, just for being a weirdo, why?
There was a photo of her presented at trial where she was smoking a cigarette.
Shit.
That's what they were going to use to take her kid away from her.
Good thing my children are adults now, because I smoke cigarettes. It's a bad habit, I know. But damn, get your kids taken away for smoking cigarettes?
Right? Is that the dumbest shit or what?
I'm not saying it's a good habit, but Jesus. Wait, was there photographs? Oh, yeah, there were photographs back then. My bad.
There were. So she did manage to keep custody of her son. And it's said that although she wore lavender every day of her life, she was dressed in black head to toe on the day that the divorce proceedings were finalized.
Isn't that a statement?
So it was shortly after the divorce that the widowed mother of Will died by cancer 2 years after her husband had passed away. And unfortunately, the curse didn't stop there. So now after this divorce, Billy Jr. here running the brewery has lost custody of his son, even though his wife smoked a cigarette.
They probably put her up to it.
Yeah, she was even said to have used foul language in public. Gasp.
Wait, I've done both of those things on this podcast. I've had a cigarette while we've talked and I've used foul language. I'm totally screwed.
Yeah, apparently you could have lost custody of your children back then. Now, so Billy's bouts of bad luck or possible cursedness did not end there. Prohibition goes into effect in
Ah,
1920.
that screws your beer business.
Big time. Other brewers, Anheuser-Busch. I still can't say that right.
Anheuser.
Anheuser-Busch. They kept in business by selling, I believe, like non-alcoholic beer and other stuff. But the Lemp brewery went under. They couldn't maintain profit after alcohol sales were no longer allowed.
You know, that's also around the time where soda started becoming popular, and I wonder if potentially some of those beer companies started making soda. Anywho, let's get back to the ghosty
They
part.
probably could have, but Billy was a shitty businessman. He was just a playboy.
Because he liked hookers.
That's right. Too many hookers, too many parties in the basement. So now at the same time, you know, Billy's getting more and more despondent as prohibition is going. The business is failing. The mansion is falling into disrepair. And one of the other children, Elsa, she was a kind of like, I read one website that described her as like the Paris Hilton of her day. So socialite, you know, beautiful, kind of flitting from thing to thing. She married a man and they had a terrible, terrible time. It was prone to arguments and she'd lost a daughter shortly after birth. And this couple who constantly fought got divorced and then remarried. And in 1920, just 11 days after remarrying this man, Elsa Lemp shot herself in the heart.
What is with everybody shooting themselves?
It's said that after her daughter died, she suffered from insomnia and just never really recovered. Billy, at the time, when he heard that his sister died, is reported to have said that that's the Lemp family for you.
Something's awry at that property with that family.
So a mere 2 years later, the Lemp brewery is sold for almost nothing. And 6 months later, in December of that year, Billy Jr. sat at his desk at this office that's just inside the left door, which I guess today is like a dining room, but it used to be his office, sat at his desk and shot himself through the heart.
Why stop giving people in this family guns?
Right? His son, when he was told about it, said, quote, "You knew I knew it. I was afraid this was coming."
I knew you knew what?
Exactly.
Who is talking to these people? What ghosty is talking to these people? Yikes.
Now, William III also had a nasty socialite, messy divorce, and he died of a heart attack at the age of 42.
They have bad heart issues, just saying.
They have something going on here. Now, another brother, another one of these 9 children, 8, I guess, since one died in infancy, Edwin Lemp. How many are left now? So there's Edwin and Charles, I think, left. So Edwin, one of the other brothers, he left the family and he was reported didn't want anything to do with them. And he took money, but basically stayed far, far away from the family. Now, the other brother, Charles, he had never married and he moved back to the family home after Billy shot himself in the office. It's reported that he just kind of got more and more depressed and he just stayed in this old house and never really left. And he just got kind of reclusive and odd. And he lived there with his dog. And in 1941, he sent a letter to a funeral home and gave them notes on exactly what to do if he died.
I could see it. Not too strange.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess people do kind of leave their last wishes sometimes. And then in 1949, Charles walked down to the basement.
Let me guess.
Shot his dog.
And then shot himself in the heart.
And then you'd think, but no, walked back upstairs, wrote a suicide note, and then shot himself in the head.
The hell, man, is there anybody left from this family?
I'll get there. I don't know why he shot the dog, but the sad thing about the dog is I read that even though this poor puppy, which was his sole companion and best friend apparently, even though this very good boy was shot in the basement, his body was found halfway up the stairs.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Right? Even after being shot, he still tried to get to him. So
That's
sad.
horrible.
So, he just wrote a note that in case I am found dead, blame it on no one but me. And it's thought that maybe because so many others in his family had committed suicide and there was questions as to whether it had truly been suicides or
Right.
not, he wanted everyone to know. After he passed away, the other brother, Edwin, was still alive. Oddly, when he died at the ripe old age of 90, in
Mhm.
his will, it instructed his butler to burn almost everything, every piece of artwork, every artifact, tons of luxurious items and
That's weird. Did
expensive historical items,
he say why?
maybe because of the curse, maybe fear that one of those items carried the Lemp family curse.
Continue it on. Wow. Did the butler do it?
He did. It's thought that millions of dollars of items went up in smoke.
Wow.
Artifacts and artwork and things from all over the world gone
Wow.
because that was
Now
his last wish.
that's some hardcore superstition, man.
Now this house, as you can guess, is hella haunted.
Right?
A lot of them are auditories. One of the saddest ones that I heard is that the father who shot himself, it said that one of the kids, for one of the men who shot himself in the house, one of the kids heard the shot and ran to the door and was kicking the door trying to get into his dad. And you can hear the child kicking the door. That's one
Oh
of the
my
sounds.
God. Oh, that's horrible.
There are the auditory sound of shots are often heard. For a little while, it was a boarding house, but people wouldn't stay. You know, they kept hearing things. They would see people walking around. Items would go missing from their rooms.
People got too spooked to want to stay.
Yeah, yeah. It's a hotel now. You can tour the brewery, which I believe has a haunted house complete with animatronics, and you can tour from that down through the limestone caves and up into the Lemp mansion itself, which now is a bed and
That's
breakfast.
cool. That's cool.
This one paranormal investigative group stayed there, and a woman, Shannon, from the group says that they did an investigation and they found that it's haunted with tons of spirits. And they said they had conversations with William, Billy, Charles, and Elsa Lemp. And Elsa told them that she was murdered by her husband and that it wasn't suicide.
No shit.
And they also said that Charles spoke to his dog and that the dog barked.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So there's definitely a lot of sightings there. People will think that they see a man walking through the hallway.
The family's still there.
The family is still there.
That's the bottom line. The family's still there.
In particular, a lot of people will get the heavy feelings as they go through the different rooms. And sometimes they'll smell the perfume from the lavender lady. Very often things will be moved when they shouldn't be. You know, so, and again, mostly auditory hauntings. A lot of people will hear people talking. They'll hear conversations in another room and there's no one there. There's very often a man in a suit that people will see either sitting in what's now the dining room that used to be an office. And in the bedroom where multiple people died, they'll see a man walking into that room and there's no one there.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's definitely still a haunted house, but it sounds like it was very much a cursed house. There's just so much that happens to it. And down in the limestone caverns is particularly where people can feel malevolent spirits. And again, sometimes referred to as the gates of hell.
Because they're everywhere.
Because they're everywhere.
That I could see where there could be a different set of spirits down there because of the limestone, and then the house spirit's a separate thing.
Yeah, and there was so much debauchery that happened in the limestone caverns. You know, who knows what they got up to down there. And the tour guides for this place are supposedly fond of taking people deep into the dark caverns and then saying, underground, no one can hear you scream.
And if we've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times. You know, stuff sticks to land, stuff sticks to where the trauma happened.
Yeah.
and stuff sticks to also what it thinks is home.
Yeah. And the little boy that was born to the prostitute that was locked in the third floor attic in the servants' quarters, he lived there till he was about 30 years old. And then he was buried in a grave that only says Lemp.
And it's probably still there. And he's probably still at that property.
Yep, people will see him. They'll see him often. There's pictures you can see of his face peering out the attic windows, and people will hear him running around the floors upstairs. So he's often heard.
The whole family's still there.
They're still there. There was so much that happened. And the dog, people will hear the dog barking in the basement. So it has been, and it was purchased in 1975 and turned into an inn and a restaurant. And it still is today. And the brewery is a haunted attraction. That seems to be more of a, like your modern Carnival Day haunted house. But they will then take you to the Lemp mansion and you can talk to a medium there. She says there are 9 different spirits in the home.
Damn.
Yeah. One time a woman was in the woman's bathroom, I guess, at the home. And she saw a man peer over the stall, and she said he kind of looked like he was wearing like a suit and an old hat, and she thought he was kind of a perv. And when she got out of the bathroom, there were just 2 people at the bar, and she said, I hope you got an eyeful. And both they and the bartender were confused because no one else had gone into the bathroom. So who knows? Like you said, they're still there. People still see these gentlemen walking all around the house. And sometimes they'll report smelling the perfume of the lavender lady or seeing a woman in lavender walking
Those
the halls
people
as well.
They'll always be there. They'll always be there.
So much happened. And who knows what's going on down in those limestone caverns. But there was definitely a lot of bad juju here. For a family that seemed to have it all, they
lost it quick.
They lost it very quickly. That's a good way to put it. So,
what a great story.
Right? Interesting stuff. Who would have known? For a stoner, I was kind of interested in the whole beer family saga.
Right.
But yeah, so that's it. There's our stories. East versus West, from Florida to Missouri.
29 in the books, man.
29. Way to go. Next one's going to be the big 3-0.
Damn. And we're going to have some new and interesting stuff. It'll be a surprise.
I'm so excited to do some of these new things, Chelle. I cannot wait to have our listeners tune in and hear all the fun things that we're going to be doing. And of course, the super spooky stories.
Well, yeah.
All right. Well, tune in next week for episode 30 of the Stoned Witches Hour, when I yet again scare the socks right off of Chelle.
And I make you laugh, people. Let's just face it. I am the comedic relief here, if nothing else.
And hopefully we'll both be smoking some super great ganja. So we will see you next week for weird, weedy witchiness and all sorts of strange brew.
Stay high, stay spooky. Make sure to tune in next week with your pillow and your teddy and your bong. See you then.
Later, witches.